Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious or you're lost. I'm Chatty, and welcome to my channel, Chatty the Red Chatter, where I'm going to be chatting away and freaking out for the New Year Freak Out tag. This is basically, I love the Mid-Year Freak Out tag, which is an original tag created by Ellie from Earl Grey Books and Kemi, who I think had an Instagram account. But definitely Ellie from Earl Grey Books. I will link her in the description so you can see the original creator of the Mid-Year Freakout tag. So I love that, but then you kind of get to the end of the year and then like the second half of the year doesn't get the same attention as the first half did, because then everyone's doing like their whole year books I loved best, books I loved least kind of thing, so no one gives the undivided attention to that second half. So I thought I would do a New Year Freakout, which is pretty much the exact same thing as the mid-year. I've just changed it to the second half of the year stuff and getting excited about the new year, which is 2023. I have already done like a goals video, so I'm not going to be dwelling too much on goals or anything like that. But I do want to just give a shout out to Kelli, because she did tag me in the New Year Booktube tag, which is a tag by Jesson Reed's Romance. Because I'd already got this one planned in, I didn't do this tag, but it covers some of the stuff that is in that one, and also my goals video covered some of the other stuff as well. So it's kind of doing a bit of both through the New Year Freakout tag. So I'm very excited to do this and getting to chat and give some extra love to not only the books that I've loved this year, but also things that I have loved about Booktube. So I think that was everything I wanted to say. I have got a flask of tea. I am surrounded by all the books. The children are fine at the moment and entertained because it took me a long time to set this up, so I didn't get to do it before they came home. But we're going to go with it. I do not edit on this channel, so it is one shot. We're going to keep rolling. I have only the power of pause, so I'm do my little gimmick. I've got my tiny teacup. So cheers, everybody. Wish me luck. Let's do this. So the first tag in the tag of tea is, yeah, they're not random because I didn't want it to be confusing, but I like the gimmick of taking tags out of a teacup, so we're keeping it. So this is tag number 1. What is the best book you have read in the second half of the year? Now, originally, I had these books all lined up, ready to go. I love them, they're amazing. But then in December, I wasn't going to talk about this author in this section of the tag, but I cannot. This is absolutely my best book I've read this year, and it's Fool's Fate by Robin Hobb. It is the best book I've read this year, so I can't not talk about it in this one. Content warning, there will be a lot of Hobb featured in this video, so if if you have been watching my channel by now, you know I'm really enjoying Hobb. I'm so loving the Realm of the Elderlings. Robin Hobb is an epic fantasy author. She has written a series called The Realm of the Elderlings, which is 16 books plus a novella long, and it's broken up into mini series. So I read Farseer back in 2021, and this year, along with a host of other people from Discord and live shows hosted by Anitha and a load of friends, have been reading the Live Ship Traders and The Tawny Man. And we're going to be continuing with the final 2 series in 2023. Now, this is the final book in the Tawny Man trilogy. So this is like book number 9 overall. And this is kind of where originally the series ended. And so you get a lot of wrap up in this one. Everything's kind of wrapped up. And oh my goodness. So Hobb is known for destroying her readers, lots of emotion, it being like really detailed and immersive, and the pace is typically quite slow. But if you're a character-based reader like me and you really enjoy Fitz, that it's amazing, and you just are literally enjoying hanging out with him and just day by day things that happen, and you just, these subtle layers are just put on the characters. And this series is Fitz is a grown man. So in the Farseer, it's a coming of age story, and he is a young, like, I think he enters at the very oldest his early 20s, like literally, like he can't be older than 22 by the time the time Farseer finishes. So it's like teenage and very early 20s is Fitz. So we are with him throughout his childhood and kind of his shaping and everything he goes through and where he fits in and all the people he knows and all the people he loves and the connections he makes and everything he's been through. Then other stuff happens in Live Ship. You follow different characters. There is one, there are some parts of Farseer in the kind of law of the land and things that you're aware of in Live Ships. So that then comes to play, that kind of like bigger picture stuff comes to play more in this one, but also in the Tawny Man trilogy. We are back with Fitz. It is 15 years after the end of Assassin's Quest, which was the third book where we last saw him, and he is now in his mid-30s, and there is a reconnection with some people we have seen before. It's now Fitz being pulled back into the politics of Buckkeep, and it's like choices that he makes then, how it differs from when he was younger, how it's the same as when he was younger. There are many Fitz facepalm moments, but there's also moments where it's like, you have grown, well done, Fitz. And there is so much payoff in this. There's just moments that have been building up throughout Farseer, throughout Tawny Man, that come to a head in this. And there's bittersweet moments, there's devastating moments, there's adorable moments, there's joyous moments, and the characters are phenomenal. Like, just seeing similarities, seeing all the different themes about trauma, about grief and loss and parenting, and just how things dealing with memories, and there's just so much in here, and it just hits you. There's so many times I was laughing, I was crying, all of it in here. And I skim read it so fast, and then I reread it, and it's just incredible. And I cannot talk about any book as being my favourite without talking about this one. So there we go. However, I still obviously want to talk about the other books that were around that point as well. So all very different, and no other adult epic fantasies. We do have a fantasy, but it's middle grade. So we have a contemporary YA. So this is one of the best books that I read in the second half of this year. Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl by Joya Goffney. So this is so first of all, this is really hard to put down because the way the story is told, it's very kind of like fast-paced and grips you because you just kind of want to know what's going to happen. You care about the characters. It's very messy. And there's just a lot that is packed into here. But one of the biggest that is packed into here is healthy attitudes towards sex. And like owning your own body, and just this message that your body only belongs to you. It's not a prize. You don't owe it to anyone. It's yours. No one else gets to tell you what you can and can't do with it. It's your body. And that virginity is also, that's nothing to do with anyone else apart from you. It's no one else's business apart from you. And it's just really kind of like exploring the societal pressure around like sex and relationships, and it looks at family relationships, it looks at friendships, it looks at prejudice. It also looks at a medical condition and brings awareness to this really unknown, like I'd never heard of this before. Am I going to say it correctly? Is it vaginismus? Let me check. Vaginismus, which is a medical condition. It is both, it is physical but has like psychological links as well. And it is basically about like the vagina literally tightens up and you cannot penetrate it. And it's something that, for example, I never knew of it. So it's not something we're aware of. So this really shines a light on that. And it shines a light on the pressures we put on young people, and the pressures young people put on themselves, and the pressures family put on each other. And it just explores it so beautifully. And there's this wonderful friendship in here. I really love how the characters, you change your opinion on them. So there's like hints of things that are dropped throughout the book, and you're given pictures of things, and then you find other bits out about them and your opinion changes. So I just really love the way that's done. It follows Mo, short for Monique, and she is a preacher's daughter, so has a lot of pressure on her to give this representation that she is the preacher's daughter, and is a good girl, but also she wants to be free to be her, and is aware of what other people might think of her. So there's all of like that kind of balance of things going on, and there's kind of her relationship with her boyfriend at the start of the book. There is a friendship with two people that she did not think she was going to be friends with, and I love their friendship. It is beautiful. There is also an exploration of family in here and how that's all explored, and I just really, really enjoyed it, and I loved all the conversations that came out of it and all the themes that came out of it, and I thought it was fabulous. So massive thank you to Ashley from the Bookish Realm for raving about this book, to the point that when I saw it in my library, I just immediately grabbed it. I had no plans to read it, but as soon as I saw it, I wanted to read it. And if I hadn't seen her video, then I probably wouldn't have picked it up, because I'd be like, no, I need to stick to my plan, because this was just a spur of the moment, and I'm so pleased I picked it up. So massive thank you to Ashley. And if you do not know her channel, what are you doing? Get over to her channel. She does the best recommendations. She is a librarian, so she knows her stuff. There we go. That's one of the best books I read this year. Here's the other fantasy I mentioned. It's Amari and the Night Brothers. I have been looking forward to this for years. Not years. For a long time. So I was hearing so many good things from absolutely everyone. And I know that people who don't generally love middle grade love this book. And I finally read it, and oh my goodness, it lived up to its hype so much. First of all, Amari is awesome. She knows exactly who she is. She doesn't back down from people making her feel like she doesn't belong somewhere. But also, she's exhausted of that fight. She and she has this love for her family, and there's been a bit of a tragedy at the beginning of the book where her brother is missing. Everyone presumes he's dead, but Amari doesn't believe that that is the case. So you hear about her relationship with her brother, you hear about her relationship with her mum, friendships from where she is. Anyway, it's a fantasy, so she then is whisked off to the Bureau of Supernatural Investigations, and in there we get this wonderful kind of like fantasy world that is kind of like taking place overlapping with our world. We have sentient elevators who all have different personalities. There is some evil wizards on the loose. Not wizards, magicians. Not wizards. Evil magicians on the loose. There is this kind of system of everyone's gifts and them being heightened, and how they all kind of add to this world and this society. And there's like career choices like summer camp. There's trials. There's friendship. There's just a lot of fun in here, and I just loved it. I really, really loved it. So yay. And my final one for my best book of the year, because obviously I can't just talk about one, was Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Booley. This is a YA thriller, and it is set in, I want to say Michigan. Yeah, it's Michigan. So the protagonist on us is of mixed heritage. She is white from her mum's side, and she is of the Obejwe tribe from her dad's side. So she has two cultures, and explores that kind of uncomfortable thing where you don't feel like you're fully in with either. But then as you read the book, you get more of kind of an understanding and things. And so there were so many moments where when you saw that actually Dornis kind of had it wrong about some people, that she was fully seen by them, and it was just really beautiful. So as well as having some like amazing kind of community and family moments, and being this beautiful story and kind of showing the Obejwe tribe and their culture, and I love the elders. The elders are amazing, and things they do. It also explores themes of drug abuse in youth, and sexual assault, and racism. So all of those things are kind of explored in here as well. So it does cover a lot of heavy subjects, but there is a kind of murder case, and there is sort of a drug investigation going on that Dornis becomes involved in. So this book has got a lot in here. I just really connected with Dornis. I thought she was a fabulous protagonist. I really enjoyed the plot of the story and kind of where it went and things it explored along the way. I found it really gripping. I found it really moving, and I can't wait for this author to write more, because I will be reading. So yeah, really love this one. Okay, that is tag 1 done. Tag 1 is now done. So the second tag is, what is the best sequel you have read in the second half of the year? So obviously, because it's my favourite book, it's this one, Fool's Fate by Robin Hobb, but I've already spoken about that one. So I am going to talk about Mad Ship, also by Robin Hobb, also part of the Realm of the Elderlings, the adult epic fantasy. So this is book number 5 in Realm of the Elderlings. It is the second book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy, and it's my favourite out of the Live Ship Traders. So if you saw my chatties where I awarded books for various different things that I've really enjoyed throughout the whole year, I do talk about the Live Ship Traders. I never talk about Mad Ship. And that's just because there are certain things that were very powerful in the beginning and in the end of the series. So I kind of felt that they had the edge on that. But if I'm talking about just general overall enjoyment, this is the one that I really love for several reasons. You get some really great character development moments. You get the plot kind of going along in different ways. So there is a political side of things that are happening in Bingtown, which is the port where the live ships are. So I found all of that going on really interesting. I have definitely had a change of opinion on some of the characters, like Ronica. You're seeing a change in Malta, who was really annoying in the first book, and then pennies start to drop for her. And she goes on quite a journey in this. My favourite part of this is Paragon, who is a beached live ship, as you can see on the front cover, who has had a very traumatic past. And some of our main characters have kind of grown up and kind of also felt a little bit lost and kind of outcast as well within society, and at different points have kind of found themselves with him as like a comfort thing. But he's a depressed ship. He's a really depressed ship. And he's been beached by his family because of being very unstable. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give stuff away, but you do kind of find out, I think, within the first book and then into this one, you find out kind of like what his past has been and why he is the way he is. So there are 3 characters. There is Althea, who is one of the Vesterates, who is one of the protagonists that we see a lot in the first book and we continue to in the second book. There is Brashen, who worked on her father's ship, and there is Amber, who is a bead maker, and we see her a little bit in the first book, but we see her a lot more in this one. And they all make friends with Paragon and kind of support Paragon, and particularly in this one, like Amber and Paragon have got this really lovely relationship. and then all three of them are kind of working together to kind of help Paragon in this one. And I really, really enjoy their relationship together, their relationship with Paragon. So that is why this one is my favourite, because I love all of that stuff in this book. Do check the trigger warnings for this one, because it deals with there is a lot of misogyny in here, there is a lot of slavery in here, and there is sexual assault in here as well. And particularly going into the third one, there are things that happen that are really upsetting towards a lot of people. I am definitely of the opinion that I'm trying to put it into words without giving away everything that happens. So I feel what Robin Hood does with this series, in that aspect that I think people don't enjoy so much, I think is incredibly powerful, because it is so reflective of what happens in our world. I am currently listening to a memoir that deals with that. I'm not going to say what it is, because then I think you'll get it. That deals with all of that, and it's so reflective of things that happen in here. And when you're reading stuff in here and you get really invested in the characters and things, what happens then, it just feels so utterly soul destroying. And I think it's felt so soul destroying to people that they are so upset by it that it has destroyed the series and kind of what they were hoping for. I kind of see it as it's reflective of our world, and it's reflective of living in a patriarchal society, and it is reflected of that victims are blamed, and there is a massive victim blaming culture, and we haven't got out of that yet. And I think it's done so powerfully, and I think if it's not being rewarded in terms of the reader, it's being rewarded in terms of the world, but in terms of the reader, because I think it's supposed to feel disgusting and uncomfortable. I think that's the point of it. But that's why this one's a favourite, because it's still it feels hopeful and happy in this one. But yeah, I really love Paragon, and I loved all the scenes in this one, so I had a really lovely time with this one, which is why this is my favourite, because I enjoyed where the story was going, I enjoyed the extra details we got in here, I enjoyed all the extra world building we started to get in here. So there are some links to the bigger picture that we got in Farseer, and I just think the way Robin Hood pulls everything together and how she makes you feel so strongly about characters is just incredible. Okay, let's do tag 3, which is this one. Are there any new releases you have not read yet from the second half of the year, but you want to? Yes, there is. First of all, though, I'm going to talk about the ones that I spoke about in the mid-year freakout tag. So books I was looking forward to was A Cutter Woman. I've got A Cutter Warrior here. I have not yet read A Cutter Woman, because I have not started to read this series yet. I have read A Cutter Witch, but that was many years ago, so I really want to repurchase it, buy it, and read the whole of the Medi Scripts series. So I haven't read A Cutter Woman yet. I also was very excited by reading Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Still haven't read that one yet either, but still very excited. Also excited for The Hunger of the Gods. Still haven't read it yet, but still excited. But it's on my plans. I am going to be buddy reading this with Mason from Mason in the Dark, so it will be happening. It will be happening, because otherwise Mason will probably go and do something terrible. He often threatens people. I'm paying you as the death guy, Mason. I hope you're enjoying your new portrait. I will definitely be reading The Hunger of the Gods. I don't want death by a thousand paper cups. Paper cups? Paper cuts. I don't want you to send your dog to eat my books. It will happen. It'll be totally fine. The final book that I hoped to read in the first half of the year was The Discord of Gods, which is the final book in the Cross of Dragons series. And I read this one. Woohoo! So this one I read. So there we go. ones that I want to read from the second half are, I wrote them on the back of here. Oh yeah, so I want to read Amari and the Great Game, which I haven't read. The whole point of this question is that you haven't read yet. Amari and the Great Game is a release I want to read. Obviously, just enjoyed Amari and the Night Brothers, so really excited to get to that one soon. I want to read A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Eileen. Sorry, can't read my own scribbles down here. I'm just really excited for it. It's a fantasy with tea, and I'm just like really excited. It sounds really cozy. It sounds really cute. So I'm really looking forward to getting to that one as well. They both came out in September. Oh yeah, I missed one. So the book that came out in July that I really wanted to read was Her Majesty's Royal Coven. Still need to read that one. Still haven't earned that one. It's under my bed waiting for me to get to it. But I'm really excited and it will happen. I also want to read Bloodmarked as well, which is the second book in the Legendborn series by Tracy Deonn. Haven't got my hands on that one yet. I will read it at some point. I'm hoping to read it this year, but we'll see if that actually happens. There we go. That was quicker than I thought it was going to be. Well, let's do the next. No, let's have tea first because my voice is going. I've got a flask today so it stays hot. Okay. Tag 4 is not letting me pick it up. Come on. There we go. So tag 4 is, what are your most anticipated releases for the new year? For the first half, January to June. I have many anticipated new releases. One of the ones I'm most looking forward to is the second book in this middle grade fantasy series by Tola Oguru, which is Onyeka and the Rise of the Rebels. And this is coming out in March. I'm not sure when in March, I've just got March written down. So at some point in March, Onyeka, the second book, will be coming out, and I'm so excited. I will be talking more about Onyeka later on, so we'll leave it there for now. Also, Rainbow Grey, the third and final book. I didn't know Rainbow Grey was going to be a trilogy. I thought, because Amelia Fang had 7 books and the 7 colours in a rainbow, I thought Rainbow Grey was going to be a 7-book series. But I was reading Laura Ellen Anderson's Twitter, and she mentioned it was the final book. So, sad times, but really excited for it. Looking forward to kind of having one last adventure with Ray and her friends. So definitely excited for that one. That's out in February, on the 2nd of February. So really soon. I need to do stuff before I can get it. And I'm also looking forward to the Lizzie and Belle mysteries. The next one is called Poisons and Portraits, and that is out on the 30th of March. It's another middle grade, but it's a middle grade historical fiction mystery. So that's not something I typically read, but I loved the first one, so I can't wait to see what they do in the next. And that is by J.T. Williams. I'm also looking forward to Angie Thomas, author of The Hate You Give and On the Come Up, has got a middle grade fantasy coming out called Nick Blake and the Remarkables. I can't read it. There's something beginning with M prophecy. I'll put the Storygraph link below so you can find out what it's actually called. But I saw Angie Thomas middle grade fantasy and went, yes! And that is coming out in April, but I'm not sure when. Okay, there's more. I'm also really looking forward to TJ Klune's The Lives of Puppets. I still have yet to read a TJ Klune, but I want to. But the premise of this book sounds incredible. There's AIs, and I can't remember anything else. But I know I really liked it. I know I read the premise and thought, this sounds amazing. I really want to read it. And also the cover looks beautiful. Pre-ordering the Waterstones edition because it's very, very pretty. That's going to be one of my big expenses for the year, but I'm really excited. And then finally, I'm looking forward to some sequels, despite me not having started the series yet. But I hear really good things about them, and I really hope I'm going to enjoy them. So, as I already said, I was excited about Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. She has the second book coming out in June, which is called The Shadow Cabinet. So excited for that one to come out, and obviously excited to read the first one. And the final book in the, hold on, it's up here. The Drowning? Yeah. The final book in the Drowning Empire trilogy is coming out. So I have The Bone Shard Daughter. I still need to read it. I'm still really excited for it. Planning to read it this year with some other friends. But the final book in that is coming out, Bone Shard War. I'm not sure when it's coming out. Springish time. So very excited to get to that one as well. So lots of exciting things to look forward to. I have many, many more books I'm looking forward to on my list because I've been watching some amazing videos about releases that people are excited for. Particularly, I've already mentioned her, but particularly Ashley from the Bookish Realm and Wild Book Garden. I've totally forgotten the name of Wild Book Garden, but Wild Book Garden did an amazing January new releases coming out, and I was like, add so many that sound brilliant. So my story graph is just full of to read books, which is exciting. And obviously not what I will be doing, as I want to read books on my shelves, but we will see how we go. There we go, that's that tag done. We're done. Right, tag number 5. Tag number 5. Is it tag number 5? It is tag number 5. Which is stuck together. Come on, tag number 5. It's got a friend. Doesn't want to let go of its friend. Let go of your friend, tag number 5. There we go. Tag number 5 is what is the biggest disappointment from the second half of the year? So those who watch my wrap-ups, any guesses on what it could be? It's very pretty. It's quite beloved. It is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab. My biggest disappointment. So high hopes for this one. Was scared of picking it up due to my Shades of Magic difficulties. But the wonderful MJ did a this was the book of the month for her like read along with her. So there was lots of people chatting in Discord, and it was lovely reading along with everyone else. And the beginning and the middle I really enjoyed, actually. I was pleasantly surprised. I was actually really feeling emotional about this whole concept of just people not knowing you and just how to survive in that. I was really enjoying like the flashbacks into Addie's life as you kind of went through her managing to deal with this, and then she kind of goes through 300 years into the present day. So you've got present day storyline and past storyline kind of going alongside each other. I really enjoyed the art references in here. But then the story changed sort of towards like the last third. It started to go in a different direction to what it had previously been exploring. So it was exploring a lot of the idea that it's lonely by yourself, that human connections help you to enjoy life. Like you get a lot of enjoyment from life from your human connections. You also get a lot of enjoyment from life from being creative and living your dreams. So the curse that Addie had is that she will live forever, but nobody will remember her. As soon as she walks away, people forget her. And to do with that, she cannot leave a mark on the world. So if she draws something, it will then fade from the paper as though it's never been. And she's an artist. She loves art. So drawing in her childhood, you see how much enjoyment she gets from it. And she wants to do that, and she doesn't want to get married. So she can't do that. So it goes from kind of this enjoyment of creating and wanting to make connections with people to kind of more focusing on like a power struggle. And to the end, it kind of looked like there was more of an importance on travel and seeing world events, whereas that seemed to come out of the blue for me. I didn't get that from early on, so I found it kind of very conflicting as to like, where's this come from? It just didn't add up for me. And I just felt that it was more of a, I'm going to put a twist in. And for the sake of it, like, I'm going to twist things to misdirect you. And it just didn't feel natural. It just didn't feel, it just felt like, what was the point of the first part of this story? Like, where has this come from? Why is suddenly this a good thing? Like, why do we feel like we're winning something when actually nothing has changed? And it really confused me. And I was just sort of like, I don't understand why. No, what's happened? And then because there was kind of more of a, there was a bigger role given to someone in the book towards the end rather than at the beginning, it then led me to kind of question and like pull apart the kind of fantasy aspect of this. So it just did not work. It just felt really disappointing because like up until like that point I was like, this is great, I'm loving it, I'm loving kind of the themes of what we're exploring. And then it was like, oh no, you don't want to explore that theme, actually you are going to do something else. Okay, fine. Loads of people love it, works for loads of people really enjoy it, but for me it was no. I was really disappointed. It was like, no. And it has taught me that me and Schwab are different people. I like her writing, her characters are fine, I just can't cope with her plot. So we are saying goodbye. 2022, we met and we have parting ways. Bye bye. So that was my most disappointing book. Yeah, I'm just gonna have another drink of tea and probably go and check on my children as well. So I'll come back to do the other 5 questions in a moment, which won't feel like any time for you because I'm going to pause you. So we are 5 tugs down. I was going to say there's 5 more, but actually there's 16 questions here, not 10. I should hurry up, shouldn't I? Right, I will try and hurry up now. I've realised there are more questions. Tag 6. What is the biggest surprise for the second half of the year? So again, I have several. So one of the biggest surprises was She Who Became the Sun. I really enjoyed that book. It is an adult fantasy, but I would class it more of magical realism. It's definitely got more of a historical fiction vibe, and it's by Shelley Parker Chan. I just loved the detail in this, the atmosphere in this. I really loved Zoo. I thought she was fabulous. I just loved how the story progressed. It really gripped me. I found it really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to see where the story goes in the second book. And I wasn't sure. I thought I'd enjoy it, but I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as what I did. The next one is The Emperor's Soul. I do own this one, but I've lent it to my brother, so I don't have my copy to hand. This is a novella by Brandon Sanderson. It's one of my favourite Brandon Sandersons. Like, I really loved it. Like, he doesn't do short books, but this little novella, just the way the story was pulled together, it was just the things it was exploring, and there's a relationship between 2 characters where they're kind of on opposite sides and they just learn more about each other, and just the way that's done was just, I just really liked that connection. I liked the themes. I really liked our protagonist. I loved the magic system. And it was just so tight. It was just so tightly woven. It was just focused on this one thing. And I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. So yeah, Emperor's Soul, surprised by how much I love that. And it is definitely, it's one of my favourite Sandersons. So there we go. Another one that surprised me was The Last Dog on Earth by Adrian J. Walker. So this is a dystopia. I hadn't read dystopia for a really long time. What really surprised me about this one was just the relationship between the man and his dog. And I just really enjoyed this kind of concept of that sometimes you're not a hero, and sometimes you go into life preservation mode and leave other people. And sometimes you just want to be left alone. But I really loved our 2 protagonists, the dog Inika, and I've really forgotten the name of the man. I'm very sorry. What's your name? Reginald. And Reginald. And I loved the audiobook for this. The audiobook is excellent. Like the voice acting between Lineker and Reginald, because it's told by two different things, was brilliant. And sometimes it just sounds a bit strange, I think, because generally men tend to have deeper voices. So when they're doing like a girl's voice, it can just sound a bit strange. Not through any fault of their own, it doesn't, or it sometimes it's like kind of just pulls you out the story a little bit because it doesn't sound right. But I didn't get that with this. So there is a human child in this, and she yeah, and just I just found it really, yeah, it was just really moving. I loved listening to the audiobook of this, and I'm not an audiobook person. I just really enjoyed this one, so this was a big surprise as well. Okay. Oh, and also thank you, Mason, for the recommendation for that one. That was I've only done, so in my book game I have the one ring card where if you have the power to choose a book for me, and I've only pulled it out once in the game so far, so I might change the game a little bit because I think it is a fun prompt. So yeah, Mason chose this for the one ring card, so yeah, great pick, Mason, really enjoyed it. So the next tag we have is, who is your new favorite author? And that is like new to me, so not a new author of 2022, but an author that became my favorite this year. So I'm going to say author that became my favourite because I had read from this author before. So, for example, like I could say that Angeline Boulet is my new favourite author because I really enjoyed this book. But this is one book. People do that, but if I'm calling someone my new favourite author, I need to have read more than one book by you. So just to kind of just double confirm that it wasn't just well, I really liked this book, but the rest I didn't. Because I have had that happen. Like there's a book that I really loved by an author, and then I haven't enjoyed other stuff they've written. And that's fine. So my new favourite author, back in 2021, I read 2 books in this series and really enjoyed them. It had a very different vibe to what I was using, so I was having a good time. And I thought the series was just going to be, you know, a good time, like enjoyable, and I wanted to see how it went, and it was a lot of fun. But I ended up absolutely adoring this series, and it is one of my favourite series ever. And so I didn't get that until this year. So I didn't love this author. I enjoyed them, but I didn't love them until this year when I read the rest of the series. And that is Jen Leons, the author of A Chorus of Dragons. Oh, she is a genius. She is a genius. Just the scope of these books and what she was weaving and pulling together. I was lucky enough to be chatting on Discord, doing a group read of this one. And we had a lot of jokes that, you know, she must have, you know, those crazy conspiracy theories boards, or like the police boards with all the red tape and the wires crossing to kind of keep track of everything. But there is so much in these books, so much in these. So everything that happened in like book 1 and 2, you go in different places with this. So you needed all of that information that you got in the first books to then appreciate the awkward hilarity of some of these characters coming together and having like a coach ride. You also needed to appreciate like moments in here where there was like devastation, to kind of understand the stakes, to understand kind of different power plays. There are things that happened in Ruin of Kings that then weren't looked at in Name of All Things, but then we brought back in Memory of Souls, which was incredible. You get other ones that then didn't come back until House of Always. And just the whole premise and everything was just wrapped up so beautifully in the Discord of Gods. Like, it was just all pulled together. She's just phenomenal. And I love the tone of these books. These books are chaotic snarkasm, or snarkastic chaos. They are so snarky, so sarcastic, and it's so funny, and you just love the characters in these. It was brilliant. I do have one other person that I need to mention. So there was a poetry collection that I loved this year called Somebody Give This Heart a Pen. This performance poet then released a second collection, Wearing My Mother's Heart. And this is Sophia Thakur. And she is a new favourite author. I adored her first poetry collection, raved about it, loved it. And in this one, I was kind of in tears by just reading the introduction. Yeah, the introduction. Just what inspired her to pull this collection together. I just started crying as I was reading it. It's like, I haven't even got to your poems yet and I'm already crying. And I just love it. Like, you want to speak these poems aloud. Just the messages, just love it. I just eat it up. Like, for example, so I'm kind of dipping in and out of this. I haven't fully read it yet. I do want to either do like a read or a reread with Kemi from At Violet Pages, because I know she loves her too, and she's also not a poetry reader. So yeah, we might try and do some sort of like buddy read or something together where we just basically get to chat and gush about how amazing she is. But just opened it on this one, so I've read like a good third of this, so I can definitely feel confident in confirming she is a favourite author. So this poem is called All We Need Is. I had someone to face life with, and that felt like all I'd ever need to survive the hands of this world. It's just 3 lines. It's just a simple thing, and it's just like that love. You just feel it in that one moment, and it's just really, really nice, really pretty. I just love it so much. Yes, there we go. 2 new favourite authors. Whoop whoop, winner. So what do we have next? I think it's fun character time next that we're going to be doing. I think, yes. Okay, so again, I'll try and rein it in. So, oh no, it's fun. Okay, it's the fun one. Ready? Question 8. Oh look, I didn't get rid of the cringy question. It's still here. Who is your newest fictional crush? I couldn't get rid of this because I love hearing everyone cringe at this question every time they do this tag. It's so much fun. I also enjoy different ways that people go, well, I don't usually do that, so this is what I'm going to answer instead, and people kind of come up with their own things. Now, usually I don't have fictional crushes, so I usually talk about my adopted book babies. So I read books, and then I get incredibly maternal over the characters. I adopt them into my little fictional family, and then I am their reading mum, and they are my book baby, and I will then protect them. So that's usually what I do the question in. But I actually can answer it this time, which is surprising. I think it's possibly because of the whole swashbuckling thing. That's kind of my vibe. I've got a friend who just brought into our conversation once the concept of they would look fitter as a pirate, and just this concept of you see people playing pirates and then you see them not being pirates, like, oh, actually you're suddenly not that attractive. So there we go. That is clearly my vibe, fitter as a pirate, because my fictional crush is Brashen from the Mad Ship. I know he's a narcotics user. I know. But I just really enjoyed his relationship of friendship and then romantic with Althea in here, and just the way they are both very, very messy, but were able to kind of come together and talk about their feelings and their reasons for stuff, and try and rekindle the friendship again, and try and get back to where they could work alongside each other, when they could be friends, and that they respect each other and miss each other. And basically one of the things that won me over with this is just Brashen's absolute level of respect he has for Althea. I loved it. I absolutely love it. So they are so equal in this. They are on the ship. They are being shipmates. He is the captain, obviously. Not obviously. Why would it be obvious? Because he is the captain, he has to have this certain level of aloofness, and he is the person in charge of it. But Althea then has a position of being first mate, and so she has got to have respect of the crew. She is a woman in a patriarchal society full of misogynistic people. She has her work cut out for her. Brashen has a lot of feelings for Althea, so naturally he's going to feel protective towards her. So naturally he is going to feel uncomfortable if she is putting herself in dangerous situations. However, Brashen knows the most important thing for Althea is to be on a ship. She wants to sail. That is her dream. That is her goal. That is what she wants. It's in her blood. It's in her life. She lives and breathes being on a boat in the sea. If he tries to protect her, the crew are not going to respect her. And I just loved how, even though it was tearing him up, he didn't intervene and let Althea sort her problems out herself. He trusted her that she could do it. He trusted her. And it's just that, even though it hurts, even though it was hard, he was big enough to understand that this is important for Althea, that she needs to do it herself. So he allowed her to continue to have agency and allowed her to continue to be the person she was without him having to rescue her or swoop in and do it for her, because it would be easier and he would feel that she was safe, and then he wouldn't need to worry. So he put her needs of being respected and truly respected by the crew and proving herself as completely able-bodied, even though she shouldn't have to do that, but hey ho, above his need to feel that she was safe. And I love that, because there are so many books where being overprotective is seen as a good thing because he loves you that much. So I just loved it. And so that is what won me over my fictional crush. I'm like, yes, Brashen, whoop, appreciate. Yeah, there we go. That's that one. But of course, I love talking about my book baby, so I couldn't help but put in 8A. So question 8A. So if you're going to do this tag, you do not need to add an 8A in there, but obviously if you want to, feel free. But this is just for me. Who are your new adopted book babies / children? So, oh look, I'm picking up this book again. So in the Mad Ship, I adopted another ship. I have brought Paragon into the fold. Paragon is my book baby. I feel very protective of him. There are times when obviously I really need to ground him and, you know, hold him to account. But there are lots of times when I just want to hug him and tell him that he's loved and he's wonderful and everything will be okay. I really love Paragon as a character. He's got so many layers to him. He's so interesting. There's moments where you know his heart's in the right place, and there's moments when you see him wallowing in this deep, deep depression. And it's just so heartbreaking. Yeah. So Paragon is a new book baby. I also adopted, here we go, new book I've not spoken about yet, a Dani from The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abby DeRay. She's adorable. She's also really, really strong. She's wonderful. Her mum is dead at the beginning of the book, and her dad wants to marry her off. And then it is a coming of age story in a way, but it's basically a year of her life and everything that happens to her. So she goes through a lot, but it's not one of those coming of age stories where you see her grow from like child to woman. She is still a child by the end of this book. But she's amazing. I love her. I found her so engaging. I found her so, I don't know what the right words are, but yes, I adopted a Dani because it just melts my heart, and I'm so proud of her, and I felt for her so many times, and there is some very difficult things to read in here, and I just want to adopt her as well. So yes, a Dani. Who else did I adopt? It's not a new character, but it's from a new book, so Fitz, obviously. I'm still his mum, even though he's in his mid-30s, he's still my book baby, so Fitz, still parenting him. But I then this time I gained a book grandchild because of, you know, Fitz is my son, so that makes me a grandmother. But I would never fight Patience. I'd never fight his actual mum for him. But he's still my book baby. And oh, I didn't bring this one down. Hold on. Let me grab it. I'm so rubbish at choosing one book. I can't. Like, obviously, I have a really difficult decision to choose between my children. Really rubbish at choosing one. Sorry. There's timestamps you can skip over. I adopted Roper from the Library of the Dead. She is one of those people that is, I think if you are a carer, a child carer, you will definitely relate to this. Like, she's a teenager, she's a young teenager, but she has got kind of a responsibility to her family, and her family are wonderful and they love her, and they have a lot of respect for her, but she's a grandma that's really old and ill and is not physically able to earn money, so Roper is doing it, and Roper is doing all the physical labour jobs that they need, and they're very poor. There's a lot going on, and then also Roper is in the middle of this kind of spooky mystery that is happening around where she lives. So this is like a fantasy dystopia, so it's kind of like dystopia in Edinburgh, but with a fantasy element as well, so be interesting to read on and kind of find out what all that's about. But yeah, Roper, she's one of those people that will try and push you away to start off with, so she doesn't know that I've adopted her. I'm just kind of adopting her from the side, so I don't want to scare her, or, you know, let her feel like she needs to come and tell me off, because she probably would. Finally, so I knew this character 2 books ago, but I adopted him in this one, and that is Teraith. So Teraith is a Manol Vane, which is one of the immortal races in here. He is a member of the Black Brotherhood, which are a group of assassins that are there to do the will of the goddess of death. So basically assassins. And I just really felt for him at so many moments in this book. And so yeah, I've adopted Teraith. He's my baby, he's my book baby, and he just needs a hug sometimes. He just needs a hug. There's moments in here in terms of kind of his budding romantic relationships where I want to hug him, but there's also stuff that happens in here where it kind of like rocks his world quite a lot, and I just want to hug him. So yeah, Teraith in this one. Ooh, still a few tags in here. So the next tag is, who is your newest favourite character? I've already spoken about a lot of characters. You need to keep putting them back in the tea. That's just going to be confusing. So one of the characters that I really loved is Dornis from Firekeeper's Daughter. One of the reasons I love Dornis, I just found her really engaging, and I found her really admirable. There is a lot of things that she wants to do right. She has a lot of grief that needs dealing with, and she's doing her best to deal with it. And you can see her grieving and her processing things. And she's also moving on at the same time and focusing her grief into ways of helping. And I just really admire her. I just think she's wonderful. She's really brave. She's really strong, and I really love Dornis. Other characters that I really enjoy, all of them in here, all of them in the Chorus of Dragons, they're just amazing. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably talk about Serena. Is it? I've just written my way of spelling her name down. How do you actually say it? Because that's the problem, when I don't say the words aloud. Senera. See, I've been calling her Serena. Senera. There we go. If I have to talk about one, it's Senera. She's really intriguing, and I think there's a big journey for her in here. And she has a beautifully acid tongue, and I love it. I love it so much. She's fantastic. And what else did I have written down? Oh, yes. Where are you? You're hiding from me. Oh, look. I haven't spoken about Robin Hobb enough. So many characters in both Live Ships and Tawny Man. But I'm going to give a special mention. Yeah, okay. Obviously we love Fall because everyone loves Fall, and obviously Fitz. But I want to give a special mention to Thick. Thick is a new character we meet in the Golden Fall, and I quite a lot of the time, especially in the Golden Fall, it's very hard to read about him, because he is neurodivergent in a society that is very ableist, and our protagonists are part of that society, so they treat him in a way that feels uncomfortable to read about. But you see their characters, you see through their eyes. So it's not like Thick develops necessarily as a character. It's like we see people understand and love him from the more time they spend with him. So they learn more about him. Like, this is always how he has been. But I think he does grow in that he gets a lot from the friendship that's offered him. Like, he's never had that before. And it's beautiful to see. And I just really love him. I love the relationships that lots of the characters have in here. And there's just so many moments where he just like melted me, just the way he suddenly like would turn around and say something to someone. And because of who he is, he doesn't always filter things. Like, he will see things like very honestly, and he'll just say it to you. Like, if you smell, he'll tell you. It's like, what's that smell? You smell. And it's just beautiful, just the way it's done. And I think yeah, so I had to mention Thick. He was one of my favorites. And also Onyeka. I really loved Onyeka and her friend. I was going to find the name and I can't remember it. Yes, Onyeka and her friend Adana. I really love that relationship. So yeah, I really enjoyed seeing their friendship kind of come together. I really enjoyed seeing Onyeka grow into her power. It was really beautiful to watch. So yes. And we're done with that tag. Woohoo! That was a lot quicker than I thought it would be. Oh, come on, T. Stop sticking to each other. Okay, tag number 10. 6 more to go. Which book in the second half of the year made you cry? I think I've already mentioned. So, the Tawny Man trilogy. I'm representing it with the first book, The Fool's Errand. There were a lot of moments in here when I cried. Like, literally the beginning of the book. The beginning of the book, just seeing people again, just made me emotional. Events that happened in here, prejudiced, reliving trauma, made me emotional. Things that happened towards the end made me emotional. The Golden Fool, beginning of that. So many things in it. And then Fool's Fate, in pieces. In absolute pieces, because of these characters and how wonderful they are. Girl with a Louding Voice. I've already mentioned that some parts in here that were really hard to read. There were, and they made me cry. And then because you then kind of get that pain and people just seeing kind of a fierce side of the world, and then when you see a nice side of the world and you realise that you are a worthy person again, that also kind of makes you feel, kind of hits you in the emotions as well. So then you kind of cry different types of tears as well. So that made me cry. Wow, I'm making a really loud sound. Stop it so aggressively throwing the books down. And another one was A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I really, really enjoyed that story. I have it somewhere, but I've reorganized my books and I kind of like push books to the back if they've been at the front, and I've like Jenga stacked them, and I'm not exactly sure where this one is. I couldn't find it, but it's around somewhere. This book is described as a character book without a plot. There is a plot in it. But there are things that happen. It's kind of very kind of episodic, I feel, within it. I think it's going to make a great TV series. But there's so many moments of heart where there's like changes between the characters or like little relationship things, and it just brings tears to my eyes. And the end, I cried a lot at the end because of things that happen, which I'm not going to say because that would be a spoiler. But yeah, A Long Way from a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. And that's it. New tag. Tag number 11 is... Hope you're all enjoying the anticipation while I pull them apart. Is this one? It is. Which book did you read in the second half of the year that made you happy? Again, all Robin Hobb. Robin Hobb. Love Robin Hobb. What else made me happy? What else did I write down? So again, the Chorus of Dragons. Between A Memory of Souls and Discord of Gods, I think Memory of Souls just edges it on which one is my favourite. The House of Always, I love it just ever so slightly less than the other two, but I really love that it's such a character one. It's such an exploration. It's kind of like a mental aspect in here. You have a load of characters brought together and put in one place, and they just explore a lot. They just kind of go on a lot of emotional journeys. There's a lot of character development, without necessarily a huge amount of action, but just the way that Jen Lyons does her stories, where you have everyone having a conversation and then referring back to moments of action in the past, and then everyone has heard that and reacts to it. Characters that were involved that didn't know certain parts of that story then hear it for the first time. So this was so much fun because you're kind of a little bit like, oh god, oh no, I don't want people to hear that, but at the same time you're like, but I'm loving this messiness, I'm really enjoying it. Then characters have really important conversations with each other that they need to have. So much joy from that. And it goes without saying that middle grade makes me so happy. In particular, these two, Amari and Onyeka, all the joys from these. And finally, a book I've not spoken about yet, but Get Alive, Chloe Brown, which is a contemporary romance. And I do not read contemporary romance, so it was really nice to dip my toe in, and loved this one so much. I love these two as a couple. They are beautiful. Yes, just beautiful. Again, there is things that they both have their own kind of baggage in life that they need to kind of overcome, but it's beautiful seeing them kind of do it together and coming from a certain place, and just, yeah, really loved it. It made me very, very happy, so I'm looking forward to continuing that and feeling happy again. Tag number 12 is, what is the most beautiful book you have bought or received in the second half of the year? Oh. So half of this is downstairs, but we'll leave it there. So one of the Fairy Loot books that I got was Violet Made of Thorns. I really enjoy the kind of the sunrise that we get on here. If I had the book here, I would show you these beautiful sprayed edges where it goes from a dark navy blue down to a lovely orangey pinky colour, and it just looks so beautiful, and it is the sunset. And then it's got the normal kind of, there's end pages, it's all very pretty, but I really love the under the dust jacket, because on this one there is it's printed on the hardback, and it is rooftops. So you've got, again, in the colours of sunset, so it's all like in like pinks and oranges and kind of like dark blues. There's these rooftop scenes. It's beautiful. Also really love the Onyeka front cover. I just absolutely love seeing her hair just in all its glory over this amazing kind of sunburst, and I quite enjoyed their uniform of the Academy of the Sun. There's lots of like teals and like the African patterns, and I just think it's awesome, and the spine is really cool as well. So we get Onyeka's face on the spine, and then we get these lovely kind of like dot patterns going around. And a book that I got from the Shelter Box Book Club called The Mountains Sing. Yeah, The Mountains Sing. This is beautiful. I love the oranges with like the gold foiling on the tops, and then just this really kind of like simple, it's kind of like paper cutout. So you've got different block colours of this woman. I don't know who she is, but I'm looking forward to meeting her at some point. And then the red circle sun kind of at the top. And finally, I really enjoyed the cover of Pages and Co. Tilly and the Book Wanderers, where it looks like a very kind of old-fashioned book. It's all done in red with these sort of like gold book platey bits. And And then I love how you've got this kind of tear out, though it looks like you're burrowing into the book because Tilly can wander into books. So you've got different bits of writing, so it looks like someone's like torn a hole and there's this like tunnel into the pages, and then you've got different characters kind of like falling out of them, which looks really cool. And then under the dust jacket you've got these amazing pages and silhouettes and quotes and random words and random objects, like there's a teapot and a book and things just all printed on the hardback. So that is super cool. Probably should have done this video in 2 parts, but we're here now, so it's just a massive long one. Tag 13 is, what did you read? Did you read the books you said you should by the year end? Well, the books that I said I should read by the year end are as follows. I said by the end of the year I wanted to have read Ink Death by Cornelia Funke, and I did! Woohoo! So I did read that one. It's the final book in the Inkwell trilogy, which is a fantasy middle grade. And I sort of buddy read it with Lucia, but we read it completely separately and then chatted about it. But I did read it, so yay, finally completed that one because took me a while. I also said I really wanted to read Rhythm of War, which I've been waiting for a really long time because I wanted the paperback versions, which came out in May this year. Still haven't read it because I wanted to reread them all before I got to this one, and Oathbringer is massive and I just haven't been in the right place to pick it up yet. So not read that one. I did, however, I've already mentioned her, you've already seen her. I did read Amari and the Night Brothers, so whoop whoop, that's great. No, it wasn't Amari and the Night Brothers. That was one list I made for myself. The other one I said I wanted to read was Passing by Nella Larson, and I did read Passing. That is another book that is somewhere, but I'm not sure where. So I haven't got it to show you. I enjoyed the first part of Passing. The second part then took the story in a different direction to the bit that I was enjoying the most, so I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. I really enjoyed the first part, but the second part, not as much, which is a shame, but hey ho. And then I did say that I wanted to read The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I still haven't read this one. So this is on the list of my Chatties Challenge, which are 7 years of the popular fantasy books. And I got a bit disheartened with it in July because there were lots of books that I was just finding exhausting. So I kind of paused. I really feel I'm going to love this one. So I kind of want it to be one of the last ones I read, because then it's like I'm saving something good for me. So I still really want to read it, but I don't know when because I've kind of abandoned the challenge for a moment. I am going to be picking up soon though because I feel I've had a really good break from it. The other books were, so at the end of within the end of year tag, I mentioned a lot of other books that I said I wanted to finish off by the end of the year. So let's have a look and see if I actually did that. So 2 of the books I was in the middle of reading were Oathbringer and A Rabble of Drabbles and Doodles. As I've already mentioned, did not finish Oathbringer. I've just left it, and I'm probably going to just start again with Oathbringer, but after I finish The Realm of the Eldlings. But I did finish A Rabble of Drabbles and Doodles and read it like instead of like dipping in and out, because it's a collection of drabbles, like pieces of writing, and I did read it like cover to cover, so yay. I did finish some series, so I read these 2 in the Cogheart Adventures, that's Sky Circus and Shadowsea, which is a middle grade magical realism set with a kind of Victorian steampunk thing. I also said I wanted to read Once We Were Witches and Twice We Make Magic, which I did, also middle grade. I said I wanted to continue with the Ember and the Ashes series and have A Reaper at the Gates read by Sabaa Tahir. I did not. This is one series I've kind of paused because people I'm buddy reading it with have not read further in the series either. I also said I really wanted to read Hollowpox, the 3rd book in the Nevermore series, which is a middle grade, and I haven't read Hollowpox, so whoops. I also said I'd really love to read The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas because I'm really excited about it. Didn't read this one either, but I'm currently reading this one. So I've got my bookmark in here. There we go. and I'm really enjoying it because Angie Thomas is awesome. Yes. I also said I wanted to complete the Even the Darkest Stars duology by reading All the Wandering Light, and it was giving me the winter feels, and I did read that one. Yay! I also said I wanted to read The Mercies because it was part of my tea and taste, and this is a book I chose, and I'm excited about it, and I really want to read it, but I haven't because I haven't put it on a TBR because I'm stupid, so I haven't read it. I also said I really wanted to read The Girl Who Speaks Bear, again for the fun wintry feels, and I didn't read it deliberately because I then had a thought that I wanted to do with it in the new year. So it is on my TBR to read in January. So there we go. Tag number 13A. So just kind of adding into this. So now I want to name 5 books that I would like to read this year. So the first book I do not have a copy of at the moment, and that is All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson, which is a non-fiction about him growing up and his experience, and I'm really excited to read it. I've been seeing it, I've only heard good things about it. I've been seeing it kind of around and it's there on my radar, and I'm like, that is one I want to read. If I want to read a non-fiction, I really want to read that one. So when I can, I'm going to get it. I'm going to read it. I also really want to read a middle grade sci-fi called Orion Lost, and this is by Alistair Chisholm. I don't want to know what the plot is for this one. I have just heard people talk about how much they loved it, and I've not read a middle grade sci-fi, so I'm really keen to read this one. Another book I really want to read, so the third book I definitely want to read this year, is one by one of my favourite authors from this year, and that is Zen Cho. I am really excited to read Blackwater Sister. I have heard Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe talk about how much she loves this book and how amazing this book is. And what's been kind of holding me back is it's one of those books that I know I'm really, really going to love. So I'm a bit worried about starting it because I want to be reading it in the best possible way. Like I want to give it my full time, my full attention, and just really enjoy it rather than slinging it in, which is just stupid. But that's kind of how I'm feeling because I'm just really excited for it because I really love Zen Cho. I really loved her Sorcerer Royale series, and this has got like a ghost of a grandma, and it just sounds brilliant. It's got dual nationality in here, and themes of identity, and themes of ghosts. I'm not doing a good job of talking about this book, but anyway, I am really excited about this one. Another middle grade that I really want to read this year is one I've borrowed from my mum, and that is Asha and the Spirit Bird by Jaspinda Bilan. I'm really looking forward to this. My mum has said how much she enjoyed this book, how beautiful it was. It's got lots of kind of Hindu folklore in here, so I'm really keen to read this and kind of hear all about that. Finally, as a book I kind of probably didn't need to put on here, but it is definitely one that I absolutely have to read this year, and I'm so excited about, and I'm also nervous, and it is Fool's Assassin by Robin Hobb. Basically, I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of the Realm of the Elderling, but in particular the Fitz and the Fool, which is the final series, because we're back with Fitz and the Fool, and well, I presume so. It's in the title. It's called the Fitz and the Fool trilogy, so I presume this is about Fitz and it's about the Fool, and I presume they are together in here in some capacity. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this. I'm just really excited, and I don't know if it does justice on the video, and you can't feel it as well. It just feels really nice. This is the hardcover. So this is a book that my friend Dave had and said, if I read them whenever I like, would you like to have my Robin Hobb collection, because I need this shelf space? So he managed to get this. We've got this sticker on the back, look. $1.99 from a charity shop. What a steal. What a steal. And he's also got the second one in this hardback, and I have found the third. So I have all of the Fitz and the Fool in the hardback. I'm so happy. So this is golden. We've got like this oldie worldy kind of like yellowy colour with this like bits of kind of golden, so it kind of looks like splodgy parchment on it. We've got the wonderful, oh, it's medieval writing. It's got a name and I can't remember what it's called, but you've got medieval writing for the title, and then around the fall you've got that decorated letter and where there's a picture around it, and it's this little snowy scene with this little wicket fence, and there's a bird on it that looks a little bit like a peacock. And there's some trees in the distance, and it's just really pretty. Look how pretty that is. And then we've got a bee here, and the bee is, I can feel it with my finger, like it's slightly raised, so you can feel this bee. Can I feel the swords? No, I can just feel the bee. So I'm now feeling, oh, you can feel the letters as well. The title is slightly raised. You can feel Fool's Assassin, and you can feel Robin Hobb. And then on the back, we've got a butterfly. Can't feel the butterfly. So you've got this golden butterfly, and then you've got this quote on the back that says, "A secret is only yours so long as you don't share it. Tell it to one person and it's a secret and no more." Ooh. Then let's have a look at the end papers. So we've got this yellow, again, this kind of yellowy parchment, and then we've got these sort of like wildflowers. They look a bit like, I can't tell exactly what they are. If anyone is you know, into flowers and knows names, they look a little bit like a cross between like harebells and lavender, but they are neither. But there is a little bee on the top of that. I just think it's so pretty, and I just am so excited about reading this series, and I'm just so delighted that it's in such a lovely copy. Okay, enough gushing, enough excited gushing. Let us move on to the last read tag. Tag 14 is, what is your favourite videos you made in the second half of the year? Just done a little bit of tidying up. My children are in the bath. Hold on one moment.